For centuries, knowledge has been hidden in plain sight across the sands of time. Whispers of lost civilizations, cryptic symbols, and forbidden histories have been erased or concealed. What if the truth was never lost, but hidden? Welcome to Eye of Ancient Mysteries, where the past speaks and the future listens. Sit back, open your mind, and prepare to uncover the untold secrets of our world. Let the journey begin now. Switzerland Underground. How the most prepared country in the world thinks about the end of the world with 370,000 bunkers and a legal guarantee of shelter for every resident. Switzerland remains the global leader in civil defense and a symbol of a society that prepares for the worst with cool rationality and historical memory. When Russia invaded Ukraine in early 2022 and the first missiles fell over Kyiv, Zora Shelbert, chief operating officer and guide at the Sonnenberg nuclear bunker in Lucerne, began receiving alarming phone calls. People were asking her where exactly they should take shelter and what measures they needed to take. At first, Shelbert thought they were joking, but soon it became clear. People were mistaking her for the local civil defense service. The panic was real. In a country of fewer than 9 million people, Switzerland has more than 370,000 protective shelters, more per capita than anywhere else in the world. The law requires every new building to include a bunker or for its owners to finance a nearby public shelter. This practice was introduced back in 1963 and continued even after the end of the Cold War, something that most European countries are only now beginning to reconsider. Bunker culture, part of the national identity. Before 2022, many people and politicians saw the bunkers as unnecessary, says Daniel Jordi, Federal Director of Civil Protection. But after the start of the war in Ukraine, the Swiss began to view them with renewed respect. Historian Sylvia Berger from the University of Bern notes that the country is undergoing a deep transformation in its public perception of security. We haven't reached the end of this change yet. The bunkers are not just infrastructure. They are part of the Swiss DNA. During the Second World War, when the country was completely surrounded by Axis forces, the army fortified the so-called National Redoubt in the Alps. But the experience of the rest of Europe, with devastating air raids and civilian casualties, led to the need for mass construction of shelters for the population. From shelter to museum. The case of Sonnenberg in Lucerne is one of the largest nuclear bunkers, built in 1971 for 20,000 people. In 2002, its capacity was reduced to 2,000 people due to high costs and low efficiency, and today it functions mainly as a museum. The space preserves its authentic equipment, from cooking cauldrons and water tanks to cans labeled survival food and toilets resembling gray plastic bins. The exhibits tell the story of life inside a concrete prison with no windows, equipped with analog clocks and red lamps indicating whether it is day or night up on the surface. During its only full-scale test in 1987, teams failed to close one of the 4 350-ton doors, a failure that raised doubts about the practical effectiveness of the massive structure. The system today scale, function, and coast. Most bunkers in Switzerland accommodate between a single family and 200 people. They are built and maintained mainly by property owners and developers. Costs vary from 1,400 to 3,000 Swiss francs per spot and are considered comparable to an annual health insurance premium. In peacetime, many use their bunkers as cellars, storage rooms, or even saunas. In the 1990s, they hosted paintball games, rehearsals, and even family events. In recent years, some command bunkers have even been used as shelters for the homeless or for refugees, though this has sparked public debate. A typical civilian bunker is designed for stays of several days up to 2 weeks. It features a ventilation system with a lifespan of 40 years, capable of neutralizing radiation and toxins. Only command centers are intended for longer stays. They have showers, kitchens, and internet access. Europe on edge. A new wave of civil protection. Russia, Ukraine, the Middle East. Geopolitical shocks are bringing renewed attention to the long neglected topic of civil defense. In 2024, the EU encouraged citizens to maintain emergency supplies for 72 hours. Norway reinstated the requirement that every new residential building must include a bomb shelter. In Germany, the topic is returning to public debate as well. Austrians visiting Sonnenberg expressed their doubts. Vienna, though geographically exposed during the Cold War, never built such a network of shelters. Their family's conclusion: diplomacy is more effective. But Switzerland thinks long-term, because the reality is that although a bunker cannot withstand a direct nuclear strike, it can save thousands from radiation, biological weapons, or chemical attacks, at least temporarily. The cultural logic of the underground, historian Sylvia Berger notes, in American culture, the underground might be associated with fear and weakness, but in Switzerland, the mountains and their depths have always been perceived as safety. This idea was reinforced through propaganda campaigns as early as the 1950s, with animations in which an alpine marmot hides in its little hut when danger approaches. The message is clear: preparedness is not paranoia, but prudence. Prepared, but hoping never to need it. Although bunkers are an integral part of Switzerland's architecture and mentality, they are not an end in themselves. They represent a philosophy. Impulsiveness is not a strategy. True civil protection is the kind that never has to be used, because diplomacy has managed to win time, not a battle. And that, perhaps, is the most important lesson the world today can learn from the small alpine nation.